Something big is coming. And I don't mean that lightly. The severe weather pattern for next week just got a serious upgrade. And the Storm Prediction Center is now officially on board with what I've been telling you guys for the last few days. But here's what's different this time. The threat is shifting south, deep south. Areas that have been surprisingly quiet this entire spring are about to get woken up, and most people down there aren't even talking about it yet. Today, we're breaking down every single day of the upcoming week. What's coming, where it's going, and what you need to know before it gets there. Let's get into it. Today, Saturday, May 2nd. All right. So today is a rainy Saturday across much of the southeast. And look, I've been wanting rainfall for a while now, but where I am in southeastern Virginia, we're probably sitting at about a 1/4 inch total for this entire storm. Maybe. That's going to be pretty close to our final number. Meanwhile, areas to my south and east are pulling in an inch or more in some spots. Underwhelming doesn't even cover it. But hey, any rain is better than nothing at this point. I'll take it. Now, the bigger story isn't today. Today is just the setup. What happens over the next 5 to 7 days, that's where your full attention needs to be. Sunday, May 3rd. Sunday, things actually quiet down quite a bit. We've still got a ridge parked out west and a trough sitting over the east, so it's not like the pattern suddenly flips warm. But as far as active weather goes, Sunday is your calm day. A few scattered showers here and there, nothing organized, nothing threatening. Honestly, enjoy it. Get outside if you can, because the week ahead is going to be anything but quiet. Monday, May 4th. The first big move. Monday is where things start getting interesting. We've got a large-scale storm system pushing through, sitting right between the Great Lakes and Hudson Bay, coming in at around 985 millibars. We've been tracking this one for several days now, and it is a significant system. Every storm like this comes with a swinging cold front. And as that cold front pushes southward into warmer, more humid air, that's your recipe for thunderstorms. Possibly some isolated severe weather too, depending on how the timing works out. Ohio Valley, parts of the Midwest, up into the Northeast, scattered showers and storms for all of you Monday. Out west, there's another system moving through. Mountain snow at higher elevations, rain down lower, and that massive ridge sitting over the western U.S. That's the engine driving all of this. That warmth out west is what keeps sending cold air straight down into the east. It's been doing it all spring, and it's not done yet. Now here's the one silver lining for Monday and Tuesday. The East Coast actually gets a brief warm-up. As that cold front pushes southward, warm air rushes ahead of it toward the coast. Common pattern. Happens all the time. But don't get too attached to it because it doesn't last. Tuesday, May 5th, severe weather season kicks back in. Tuesday is when the severe weather threat starts to build for real. The Storm Prediction Center has already put out an extended day outlook for Tuesday, covering Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And when SPC throws out an extended day outlook that far in advance, that translates to at least a slight risk of severe weather when we actually get there. Scattered severe thunderstorms, real threats. Not something to brush off. And here's what I really want you to understand about Tuesday. This deep south shift matters. All spring long, the northern and central plains have been taking the hits. The deep south has actually been pretty quiet compared to a lot of recent years. That means some of these communities haven't been in active mode lately. People get comfortable when things are quiet. If you're in Texas, Oklahoma, or Arkansas, Tuesday is your day to start paying close attention. Wednesday, May 6th, the main event. This is the day I'm most focused on heading into next week. Wednesday, that low-pressure system is firmly positioned over the deep south. The cold front is right there with it. And the combination of ingredients coming together, Gulf moisture, wind shear, an organized frontal boundary, that is a setup for a considerable severe weather outbreak across the deep south. SPC has already flagged Wednesday with an extended day outlook as well. And based on the pattern I'm looking at, Wednesday could honestly be the most impactful day of this entire stretch. We're talking potential for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. All of it on the table with a setup like this. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Georgia, you guys need to be locked in on your local forecasts as we get closer to Wednesday. Have your weather apps updated. Know where your safe space is. Make a plan now. Not Wednesday morning when the warnings are already going up. That's not me trying to scare anyone. That's just what the responsible thing to do looks like when a setup this significant is on the horizon. Thursday, May 7th, the threat pushes east. Thursday, that energy and that cold front continue pushing eastward. Southeast, mid-Atlantic. You're in the zone for Thursday. The front is approaching your area now, and there's a strong low pressure sitting up in the northeast, pulling a lot of moisture with it. I personally expect at least some marginal severe weather risk for Thursday. possibly a slight risk in some spots as the front moves through. The Storm Prediction Center hasn't extended their outlooks that far yet officially, but the pattern strongly suggests activity continues into Thursday. For the Northeast specifically, your low pressure center is going to be very close to you. That means heavy rainfall. Depending on how saturated the ground is by that point, after everything that's already come through, localized flooding is going to be a real concern. Watch your local alerts Thursday. This isn't a day to assume you're in the clear just because the biggest headlines were about Wednesday. Friday, May 8th, the cold arrives in full force. By Friday, we hit the climax of this entire pattern. Cold in the east, warm in the west, and I mean legitimately cold, not just chilly for May cold. There's a 978 millibar low pressure center sitting in eastern Canada by this point. That is a monster system. And the cold air it's dragging southward is going to be felt across a massive portion of the eastern U.S. Pennsylvania's mountain ranges, snowfall. In parts of the northeastern U.S., mixed rain and snow depending on your elevation. Canada, heavy mixed precipitation across a wide area. I know, snow in May sounds ridiculous, but this pattern is deep enough and cold enough that the higher elevations are genuinely going to see it. The maps don't lie. For the rest of the East Coast, wet, cold, raw. Friday. Not a fun day to be outside. The weekend, May 9th and 10th. The weekend brings some relief from the severe weather side of things, but cold and showery conditions stick around across the east. That's just what these colder patterns do. They bring that persistent, drizzly, gray kind of feel that nobody loves. But, and pay attention here, something is trying to spin up across the south-central part of the country by Saturday, May 9th. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, East Texas, there's an organized area of storms attempting to develop. Right now, I'd put this at a lower-level severe weather risk. The setup doesn't look overly dynamic at this range, but this is nearly 10 days out from today, and 10 days is an eternity in weather forecasting. This could easily become a much more significant setup between now and then. We'll keep a close eye on it. That system eventually evolves into more of a southern nor'easter type pattern, where the lowest pressure ends up sitting right over eastern North Carolina. When that happens, you tend to get more showery activity and less organized thunderstorms for the eastern states. So for the East Coast, think rain and clouds more than severe weather for that time frame. The temperature story, and it's not great. All right, let's talk temperature because this part of the pattern is genuinely unusual and I think people need to hear it clearly. The east has been running cold compared to normal, really cold. And looking at the models, that's not changing anytime soon. Monday and Tuesday you get that brief warm-up I mentioned. Warm air rushing ahead of the cold front. But that's 1, maybe 2 days. Then the cold front arrives, that warmth gets shoved out, and cold air floods back in for the weekend and beyond. The European model is actually even more aggressive about this. It shows a brief warm-up followed almost immediately by another Arctic blast, 1 or 2 days of relief, then right back to below normal temperatures. If this verifies, the first half of May is going to go down as one of the coldest starts to the month in recent memory for a large portion of the eastern United States. We're essentially looking at cold conditions from now until around May 15th, with the exception of that short Monday-Tuesday window. That's 13 straight days of cold, give or take a couple days. Out west, it's the complete opposite story. That ridge is locked in and it's keeping temperatures well above normal. Warm, dry, comfortable. The contrast between east and west right now is pretty striking, honestly. Precipitation outlook, some good news. Now I want to give credit where it's due because the precipitation picture actually has some bright spots. Total rainfall totals are looking elevated across a big chunk of the country. South-central U.S., lower Midwest, Northeast, Southeast. Multiple storm systems moving through back-to-back means consistent moisture delivery across all of these areas. If your area has been dealing with dry conditions this spring, and I know a lot of you have, this stretch is going to help. Above average rainfall expected across a large region. That's genuinely welcome news. Out west, the precipitation is starting to slow down, but that's completely normal and expected this time of year. Fall, winter, and spring are the wet season out west. As you get closer to summer, rainfall naturally decreases, so that slower trend isn't a concern. It's just the seasonal pattern doing what it always does. Storm Prediction Center full breakdown. Let me walk you through exactly where the SPC stands right now so you have the full picture. Today, Saturday, 5 general thunderstorm areas in lighter green. Storms expected, but not widespread severe weather. Florida has a marginal risk at level 1 for isolated severe weather. And then from roughly Tampa Bay up toward Jacksonville, that's a level 2 slight risk. Scattered severe thunderstorms possible for northern and central Florida today. Sunday, 4 general thunderstorm areas. Marginal risk for Missouri and Illinois. Quiet overall. Monday, 1 large general thunderstorm area. Marginal risk in spots. Not a big severe weather day. Tuesday, Extended day outlook, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. At least a slight risk of severe weather. This is where the escalation begins. Wednesday, extended day outlook, deep south coverage. At least a slight risk, highest concern day of the stretch right now. Thursday onward. Not officially in their extended outlooks yet, but based on the pattern, I fully expect continued activity pushing east through the southeast and mid-Atlantic. Full week at a glance. Here's your clean, simple breakdown. Saturday today, Florida watching for severe weather, southeast dealing with rain, everyone else relatively quiet. Sunday, quiet day across most of the country. Enjoy it. Monday, storm system pushes through, cold front swings south, scattered storms in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, a brief warm-up for the East Coast. Tuesday, severe weather threat develops. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas on alert. Wednesday, main event. Deep South facing the most significant severe weather risk of the week. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Pay close attention. Thursday, threat shifts east. Southeast and mid-Atlantic need to monitor. Northeast watching for heavy rain and possible flooding. Friday, full cold air arrival. Monster low in eastern Canada. Mountain snow in Pennsylvania. Cold and wet for much of the east. Weekend, cold and showery in the east. Watching potential development in south-central U.S. for a lower-level severe weather risk. Close, straight talk. I'm going to be completely straight with you before I let you go. Multi-day severe weather events like the one shaping up for next week are exactly the situations where preparation makes all the difference. Not because I want you sitting inside scared all week, but because the people who come through these events safely are almost always the ones who made a plan before the sirens went off. If you're in the Deep South, if you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, or anywhere in that zone, Tuesday through Thursday is your window to be on high alert. Know your safe spot. Have your phone charged, keep alerts turned on, and honestly, talk to your neighbors, talk to family. These communities are strong and people look out for each other. That matters more than any forecast I can give you. I upload every single day, so as we get closer to these events, the outlooks are going to get sharper and more specific. Subscribe so you don't miss those updates. Hit the bell icon for daily notifications. If this video helped you out, drop a like. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. Leave a comment below and let me know where you're located and what you're expecting to see this week. I read them. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow.